Welcome to this episode of Ask a Black Dad. I'm the host, Ask a Black Dad, and I'm being Yoko Ono here by woman. So today, what we're going to do today is I'm going to teach you guys, maybe not some of you guys, but at least my daughter who blamed me for the fact she didn't know how to properly tenderize a steak. If you ever had a steak before that's aged, it's very tender.
It's like butter, baby.
So, but my daughter has a tendency to buy cheap steaks, and she wants them to taste good.
He doesn't mean that, honey.
So, like woman says, you got to buy good steaks. To make good steaks, first thing you have to do is buy good steaks. But if you can't afford good steaks, all you need is the following: the steak and some cooked baking powder.
Baking powder?
Baking powder.
What's the other one? Baking soda?
You can use baking soda or baking powder. I prefer baking powder. Baking soda can sometimes leave a weird aftertaste on the meat.
Yeah, I remember those hush puppies.
So,
How dare you?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these. We bought some New York strip steaks. New York strip, we spend a little extra money. But if you can't afford New York strip steaks, whatever steak you get,
or you just pinching pennies.
Yeah, whatever it is. And we're gonna show you how you take this steak, and it's gonna be so tender. We're gonna grill our steaks on a Ninja Foodi.
Oh, that Ninja Foodi.
We're gonna take the Ninja Foodi out, and we're gonna grill these steaks. These steaks are gonna be grilled. This should take about 10 minutes to do.
10 minutes?
Woman likes her steaks at medium rare.
I like a little pink.
A little pink in them. That's about the 124, but we're gonna take it out at 120, let it carry over cook.
What's the 120?
That's the temperature inside the steak.
Okay.
No, duh.
Alright.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do that. And right now I'm gonna go ahead and get the ingredients and tell you what we're gonna do, and we'll be right back. And when we get to taste an excellent steak with the Ninja Foodi, and I made it faux aged. That's not really aged steak. Faux aged. Because F-A-U-X, whatever.
Oh, F-A-U-X.
F-A-U-X. Well, you know how you do it.
Fake aged.
Yeah. Like certain news channels. All right, so what we're doing here, we have two nice New York strips. Notice the color of them. That's gonna be something I'm gonna come back to later on. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna make them tender, or I like to call it faux aging. So we're gonna, because if you ever had aged steak, it's very tender.
It's like butter, baby.
We're gonna make these tender, but we're not gonna age them. What we're gonna use is some baking powder. You can use baking soda, but I found that baking soda leaves a weird aftertaste if it's not all the way washed off sometimes. So what we do is we take our baking powder and we get it all over the steak. Now you gotta put your steaks on a cookie sheet over a baking sheet, because you want to have this cookie sheet to hold it in, because you don't want it sitting in its own moisture. All right, you want the air to get through it. And you're not gonna cover it up when you put it in the refrigerator. You're not gonna cover it up. Again, we wanna cover this whole steak. This whole steak. Remember the color of the steak. I'm gonna come back to it. Cover the whole steak. Now, once we have this covered, you see where I got it? It's on a divider, so it doesn't sit, so it's not sitting on top of the parchment, on the cookie sheet, so it's building up moisture. Now we're gonna leave it uncovered in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours. Well, put it like this, 24 hours is better. If you rush for time, do it for 4 hours. Anything less than 4 hours, you're just wasting your baking powder, to me. All right, first thing I want you guys to notice is the color of the steaks are totally different from before when you first put on the baking powder. It's just totally different. So it feels a weird kind of like not tacky so much, but you'll feel it. When you feel it, it's like some of the moisture has gone out of it. That's gonna help it age. That's what we did. So what I've done was I've rinsed this of all the baking powder off of it. All the baking powder's off. I made sure it's all off. I patted it dry and I let it sit out. You want to let your steak sit out for 45 to an hour. They have to get to room temperature. You do not want to put a cold steak on the grill, all right? And you don't want it to be wet or you won't get that sizzling crust that you really want. So again, notice the color. Now what we're gonna do now is I got some oil. This is avocado oil. You can use olive oil if you want. Be careful of olive oil sometimes because olive oil, we're gonna cook these steaks at 500 degrees. Olive oil has a tendency sometimes that it smokes. It smokes real bad. It can get hot. So I don't like using olive oil too much. So this avocado oil, it can handle that temperature, that high temperature. So on both sides of the steak, we're gonna rub it with some avocado oil. We're gonna take salt, season it liberally. You wanna, I like salt. Salt is my friend. And salt and beef go together very well. If you have, I'm gonna put some pepper on it. If you have a steak rub, some people have a steak rub that has garlic and everything, that's okay too, use that. Make sure you get both sides of the steak. Okay, both sides. Again, salt and pepper, gotta have both sides of it. Very liberally, because you want that salt's gonna help cause a crust. And pepper. Beef loves salt and pepper. That's all we're gonna do. That's simple. That is simple. Salt and pepper. And after we do that, let's turn on our Ninja Foodi grill. Let's get to grilling. So we got our Ninja Foodi ready. It's hot. So we got our steaks ready and we just place them in. Hear that sizzle already. Give them a gentle push down so we try to get the marks on it. This other steak has a probe in it, a temperature probe. This temperature probe helps me know exactly what the inside of that temperature, what that steak is reading. Because woman will kill me if I give her a steak that is dried out. She will divorce me. And I'll be having a show called Ask the Black Dad, years after divorce. And I don't want that. So we're gonna let that sit here and about 8 to 9 minutes it's gonna cook. We're gonna flip it halfway through, but we're constantly gonna check the steak's temperature because I got a probe in there. So let's close this up and let's start cooking. And again, the first cook, like I say, 4 minutes, then we'll flip it. All right, so we're back. We took our steak, no matter what cut you get. We had a New York strip, you get whatever cut you want to get, you really can. This is gonna make the steak tender. We put baking powder. You can use baking soda, but I prefer baking powder. We put baking powder all over it. We put it in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours, but we did ours for 24 hours. You can do up to 48 hours if you want to. You'll notice the difference immediately once you take it out and you wash all of that baking powder off.
What difference should they see when I wipe it out?
You'll see a difference in color and the texture will feel different. It'll be, it's not tacky, but it's there's something with the texture. The meat is not like, it's not as squishy. It's more, it's not as firm, but it's just got some kind of body to it. That's all.
Does it feel tighter? I mean,
yeah, a little tighter. It feels like there's no moisture in it. You know how when you buy meat from a store, there's moisture all in it?
Oh, so the baking powder
dries all that moisture out. That's what's gonna help tenderize.
Dry steak,
no, you're not gonna, do I make you dry steak? Thank you. I do this all the time.
What you do? I just eat.
And then after you wash it off, you let it make sure you make it sit to room temperature. Do not put a cold steak on a grill. Whether it's outside in the oven, do not, wherever you're cooking on the stove, do not put a cold steak on the grill.
How long do you get for your
room temperature is usually 45 minutes. I usually go 45 minutes.
Okay.
Ours wound up sitting out for an hour, setting up for the shoot.
Okay.
The house is 71 degrees because you don't want to sit out too long because you get contamination. You don't want that to happen either.
All right.
So once you cook it on the Ninja Foodi, you put it on high. The size of these steaks, they only went for 3 minutes aside, 3.5 minutes aside, because they weren't as thick. And so 3.5 minutes, you gotta watch it, we probed it. At 124, one hit 126, we pulled it. We flipped it halfway through, so 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes on one side, 3.5 on the other side. When the temperature reached 124, we pulled it. Woman likes her meat that medium rare kind. So you
A
talking
little
about
pink.
hers is like 135 just before you get 140. The crossover cooking, which happens meaning that while the steak is resting, because your steak has to rest, it's still going to be cooking.
That's called crossover cooking. Okay.
Crossover is still crossing over. So the steak's now reading at about 138, 137, something like that. So they're in a range right before they hit medium. And with that being said, woman, remember, let your steaks rest to get the juice back together. Go ahead and give it a taste, woman. Tell them how I did. Tell Monty.
All right, Monty, here's our test. First of all, look at this. Look how tender it is. The knife just cuts right through it.
So, tender steak.
You keep the lamb, Monty.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Look, here, I'll show you. See, tender steak. It even has like a little grill marks from the Foodi right there too. But that's not what's important. This right here, look, see, the little pink, just the way I like it. All right. Go ahead and talk while I'm going.
So again, this is easy to do. This is not a hard meal to do. You can do it if depending on how your pockets. I don't get nobody's pockets. And beef is very expensive nowadays, and you want to make the most of that beef. Get you some baking powder and tenderize that meat. So if you know you're gonna have steak, do it at least 4 hours before you put that steak on that grill. You know what I'm saying? Well, now take 5 hours because steak can get room temperature. So 5 hours before you put that steak in that grill, put that on that steak, clean that steak up, dry it, put that on the steak. Man, you good to go. All steak needs is salt and pepper. That's all it really does. Sometimes you put garlic. You can buy any kind of steak seasoning you want when you grill a steak, but salt and pepper really does beef well. It really does.
It needs nothing else.
So, with that being said, our anniversary's coming up. We have a giveaway. We'll get back to you guys as soon as that's coming up. We're finalizing the things about that. We're now on TikTok, and we did a thing with the crab boy, the family crab boy.
This is delicious.
We have to. I know.
No, duh.
We did that. We did a family crab boil on there. I got some pictures of what I did with the leftover seafood. Remember to follow us, subscribe to all social media platforms. We're making a big push. Let's do this. We have a public service announcement out for anyone in the Northeast Ohio area who need medical care, especially men who need medical care. Now, it's the Minority Health Fair at Metro Health, but you do not have to be a minority to attend. So you can go up to 30 free screenings or different tests that are non-invasive.
Nice.
And they're free. They're all free. And you take care of your health. You know, I got a woman that makes me go to the doctor.
That's right.
But sometimes, you don't have insurance, or you're ashamed because maybe you don't have you're homeless or something like that. And you feel, listen, these doctors and nurses and volunteers, they want you there because they know that they want you to be around for a long, long time. And me and woman want you to be around for a long, long time. So that's on our Facebook page and our TikTok page, and Instagram page. Please, in the Northeast Ohio area, please look that up, follow that, go get yourself checked out. You know what I'm saying?
Better, you do better.
Ignorance is bliss, but ignorance can also kill you.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to health, knowing is the best choice to have. And with that being said, until we see you again, remember,
we love you.
and send me your emails.
And it's steak.
Send me your email. Well, don't send me the steak.
No, I want the steak.
Monty, look, Monty, that's how you do it, Monty. Not how you did it. I don't know what you was doing. That stuff you was doing, Monty.
Juicy. Look at that juice.
Monty.
Where's my steak?
Come on.
Get my steak. Get your own, Monty.